Well, today we're going to be answering the question, how can I change my locks? This is a question that we get asked pretty frequently, and as part of our mission to help you protect your people and your property, we're focused on educating our customers on what it actually means to change your locks. There's a lot of some misunderstanding around it on occasion, and so we want to try to do our best to clarify and give you some things that you should be looking for and asking for when it comes to changing your locks. My name is Chad Lingefeld, and I have with us today Thomas Heavey, who's our training director. And Thomas, what exactly does it mean to change your locks?
So we get the question all the time of how do I change my locks? And for a locksmith, that terminology actually turns into the word rekey. So we rekey the lock, we change what's inside the lock to make a new set of keys work, but your same existing hardware is still on the door.
So here's a question for you. What is a typical scenario? Why would a person want to change their lock, or why would they typically ask for that?
So a scenario we had recently was we had a customer that had an employee that was terminated on not the best terms, and still had keys to their facility. So since they had keys to their facility, they wanted to be able to ensure that employee would not come back inside their facility with their existing keys. So what we did was we went out and rekeyed the lock, and that gave them the ability to not have to worry about that anymore.
So Thomas, what is kind of that process? What should a customer really be looking for, or the questions that they should be asking when they actually need new keys for their lock, and you're calling it a rekey? So when they ask for a rekey, what does that process typically look like?
So what a rekey is if you see the lock here, this is a typical mortise lock or a typical lock that you would have in your office, and this is the cylinder that would be inside of that lock. I've got this one taken apart today. So as you can see, there's a place for pins to fall down inside this cylinder. Those pins interact with the grooves here on the key. So the different size pins you see in our kit, we've got all different size pins that interact with different size cuts on the key. As we rekey your lock, we take the old pins out that interacted with those cuts, we put new cuts in new keys, and we put pins to match that. Once everything's matched up, you've got a new lock, or you've had your locks changed, which was a rekey. However, the only thing that we've done is change the pins inside of your cylinder.
So one of the things that people get confused about a lot of times is they think, oh, I've got to buy an entire new lock. But what you're saying is there are different components inside there that you can just take small components out, replace that, and give them a fresh new key.
Absolutely. If you see inside of this small lock here, you can see the pins and the springs interact, and that's what lets it unlock. So those pins and those springs we can change to match the depths of the key, and once those have been changed, you can see here we rekeyed this larger lock. It no longer works with the original key that it had, but with the new key, and this is a way you can test to see if it works. So a lot of questions we get is, what about my old keys? Are you sure my old keys don't work in those locks? You can absolutely just take your old key and test it, and as long as the pin tumblers have been changed, that'll fix that.
So making sure that the old key doesn't work is obviously a major component, and we're just kind of talking about a simple process of somebody has a copy of a key to my facility or to my door, to my office, to my building, whatever, and now I don't want them to have that key anymore, and I can't actually get that key back, so I need to get a new copy of a key, but it needs to be a different key. So confirming that the old key doesn't work and the new key does. What else should you be asking for, or what else should you be looking at if you're talking to a locksmith about rekeying your door or changing your locks?
So if you have a compromised reason that you need to rekey, or any reason that you needed to rekey, usually it is due to some kind of compromise, but at that point, what you want to know is how many keys do you need, how many locks need to be changed or were compromised, and how many locks throughout your facility do you want the same key to work. If you know the answer to those three questions, or have a good idea in any conversation with a typical locksmith, you should be able to get a good rekey, get all the information passed over, and have it keyed the way you want.
All right, I've got a couple more questions for you, Thomas. Number one, what are some other terms that people might use, or some things that you've heard people, when they're actually asking for their locks to be changed, or actually, I guess more of a correct question is, I need new keys for my existing lock. What are some other terms that people use, or terms that you might hear of?
You just said the other one that we hear all the time is, I need new keys, which they're actually asking for a rekey. I need to change my lock, which means they don't want to take the whole lock off the door and put a whole new lock on. They're actually still asking for a rekey. So those are the two big terms that we hear on a regular basis: change my locks and get new keys or new keys to work my lock, those are the things that really and truly in a locksmith term come out to be the word rekey.
All right. And then the other question is, on a typical scenario, how long should I expect it to take for a lock to be changed or a cylinder to be rekeyed?
If it's a typical normal one cylinder or one door lock, it should take no more than about 15 to 30 minutes at max to change that out or rekey that.
All right, so a couple of takeaways that I'm just kind of going from right now is there's a lock that you have there. You've got a lock, and then you have cylinders, which are actually the component that goes inside of the lock. And sometimes those need to be replaced, but sometimes they can just be rekeyed. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
Absolutely. So any hardware can wear out. The cylinders can wear out over time. Locks can wear out over time. But if you just need to change who has keys or what keys work your lock, you're actually just looking for a rekey.
All right. Anything else that I need to be thinking of when it comes to rekeying my locks?
Just making sure that you've got a qualified locksmith to come out and do the work, that you know what you want and you're able to communicate with them what it is you're looking for as the end result.
All right, very cool. If they need to have that process done and they're looking for a locksmith to do that, what's the best way to make that happen?
You can reach out to any qualified locksmith. If you wanted to reach out to us, you can reach out to us via Loc-Doc.net.
Very cool. So we're answering these questions on a regular basis. Again, our mission is to help you protect your people and your property, and we're trying to do that through educating our customers on exactly what they need to do. Maybe you're not in our service area, which is North and South Carolina. Maybe you're outside of that and you're looking for a qualified locksmith. If you can reach out to us, we'll definitely help to point you in the right direction and get you connected up with a qualified locksmith that can help you and service you for your current needs. Outside of that, we've got questions like this on our website. It's locdoc.net/help. You can check that out, read more about exactly what we're talking about today in more detail. All that information is available. It's locdoc.net/help. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.